What's up, everybody? NT Certified here. Today is Monday and E3 has begun. This is the best time of the year next to WrestleMania, pretty much. The press conferences have already started to take place. The actual convention doesn't start until tomorrow, but we've had EA, we've had Xbox, who did a really good job despite the exclusives issue. We had Bethesda, who was we had Square Enix, who did a decent job. Who else did we have today? I watched the Limited Run conference. It was super cheesy. We had Ubisoft, which I am here to talk about today. We have Sony tonight, and we have Nintendo tomorrow morning. But back to Ubisoft, because as most people would say, the term that we use in the gamer world, I'm a Ubisoft fanboy. And I want to go through these list of games and rant a little bit on top of that. So let's go ahead on and let's get into it. Alright guys, so as I mentioned before, Ubisoft is my favorite game company. I mean, next to Nintendo, which is my childhood, I'll never turn my back on Nintendo. Ubisoft is the company for me. And ever since I started doing this YouTube channel, for some reason, I'm starting to get more interested in the behind the scenes of games and the story of them and how they've come to be, and I've started to follow games as they progress through their life cycle and things like that. Odd, right? Because I've always been a gamer who was just like, I don't care. If something feels good, I'm gonna play it. And I've always been that way. So it's weird that now that I'm about to turn 31 years old, that my tastes are changing in games. But anyway, I've been really looking forward to Ubisoft's press conference because I love them so much. So let's stop tooting the Ubisoft horn and let's get into the actual press conference. So here's my thing. I watched the Bethesda press conference and I didn't like it, even though they had some really good titles, you know, Doom, and not excited about Fallout. Doom, Rage 2 was okay. Not excited about Elder Scrolls. But my point is that throughout the press conference, I felt like they were trying to elicit applause from the audience. Like, the audience wasn't really into it. So they would say something and they would like wait for applause and they wouldn't get it and they'd be like, huh? And then people would like start to clap, and I didn't like that. It didn't feel natural to me, despite them ending it super strong, saying that they are working on the Elder Scrolls 6. Anyway, Ubisoft. They started the press conference with Just Dance 2019, which I'm not a huge fan of. I know it's a popular franchise and a lot of people buy it year after year. I felt like it was a really good idea to get Just Dance 2019 out of the way so they could move on to other things. So the second game that they showed was Beyond Good and Evil 2. Now that's a franchise that I don't know a lot about because I didn't play the original Beyond Good and Evil. So I was looking forward to seeing some more gameplay as opposed to just, you know, a trailer. And the gameplay that they did show, they didn't show full screen. They kind of just showed it in the background, so it didn't really give you a lot. And I know they're doing like the behind closed doors demonstrations and stuff like that, which is okay. The game is a little bit, it's a ways out. I expect it, I don't think we're gonna see it until fall of 2019. They said 2019, I don't think they said like what season it was in, but I don't expect to see it until like fall of 2019. I expect to see more gameplay next year, and that's just what we're gonna have to live with for right now. But it is what it is, you know? It's another franchise that we haven't seen in a couple years, and I know there are some franchises that recur year after year, you know, Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, Forza, you know, things that people know are coming every year, and they kind of don't want those games to come every year. So it's good to see something new, okay? They showed Trials Rising. Whenever I think of Trials, I think of Fusion. Now, Trials is a fun game. It is a fun game, and this one looked like a lot of fun. It looks like there might be some, not co-op, but some multiplayer in there where there's multiple people on the same track at the same time. The game looks as good as ever, and I'm sure it plays as good as ever. I'm probably gonna pick it up. Hopefully it's not a full price $60 game, because I'm probably not gonna pick that game up at a full $60. Next game, they moved on to, I'm sorry, I skipped Rainbow Six Siege. Rainbow Six Siege has a Parabellum DLC. The game is amazing, and it plays well, and I enjoy it. I play it here and there. I don't play it a lot, but I'm happy to see that they've been able to build a community around that game. And a lot of people want Rainbow Six Siege Part 2. To me, if people are still playing it and the community is still growing, I say continue on as you are, and then as it starts to dwindle, then you can introduce a Rainbow Six Siege Part 2. But for right now, it's strong. So let that continue to ride through. No need to push something that's working. Like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Just let it ride out. And that's what a lot of companies should be doing, especially with games like Call of Duty. Like, you don't have to regurgitate Call of Duty every year. If people are still playing the game, like, let them play the game. Do it every other year. Like, keep it fresh. I mean, it feels like the same game every year because they're just changing the time frame or just changing like the style, but the gameplay is still the same. So it feels like you're playing the same game, and I'm not gonna buy it every year. And I am guilty of buying WWE 2K every year because of the updated characters and stuff like that. So guess I just contradicted myself, huh? We're all gamers, what can I say? The Division 2. The Division 2 looks amazing. It looks a lot similar to the Division 1, especially like the menu screens and the icons and stuff like that. Looks like it plays similar as well, but here's hoping that they add more content into it, especially for the co-op or the multiplayer aspect of the game. I mean, I enjoyed the story playing it my first time around, but I just hope it's deeper. I hope it's deeper this time around, and so far it's looking really good. And it's in Washington, D.C., and I'm about 45 minutes out from Washington, D.C., so I'm gonna go around the map and try to look for monuments that I know should be there. So Ubisoft, you did your homework. I should know a lot of the map that you have in that game, and if not, I'm coming for you. Coming for you. We have Mario and Rabbids DLC. This is some Donkey Kong DLC, and they brought out a live band to play some music and just introduce the DLC. It was okay. It kind of reminded me of like Nintendo when they did like the Zelda Orchestra, but the Nintendo one was like 10 times better, and it was amazing. This was just kind of small. They had a lot of gimmicky stuff, like the Evel Knievel thing for Trials and the Just Dance, and then the Mario and Rabbids, the band. They could have gave some of that over to Bethesda, and Bethesda would have been somewhat interesting. Next we have Skull and Bones, which is Sea of Thieves the way it should have been. Pretty much. Like, Skull and Bones looks amazing. You can customize your ship. There's like 50 people on your boat. Like, your crew is huge in Skull and Bones, and mostly it seems like it's just ship combat. You can't get off the ship. You can jump to another ship and have combat, but all that like roaming the island to find treasure and all that stuff doesn't seem to be there, and I'm okay with that. Okay, I'm just hoping that the gameplay is decent, and I already see more than 2 ships at a time on screen, so it's already better than Sea of Thieves for me, at least. You know, that's one thing about Sea of Thieves, is that you can explore the seas and see nothing forever, you know, and that's not a good game. It's boring. So I'm happy to see that there's multiple ships. Everybody's in the same shared world, and you're going to see other people in the water. Like, that's important to me. I don't care if I can't get out of the boat. I don't want to swim in the ocean. Like, I don't want to explore the island and look for treasure. I want to shoot other ships, and I want to sink other ships. And that's what I'm looking for Skull and Bones. I don't know if it's going to be a day one purchase for me. I know Beyond Good and Evil is probably going to be a day one purchase. Play Rainbow Six Siege. I'm gonna get Trials. Division is a day one. Mario Rabbids is a day one, and Skull and Bones maybe. Transference, I can't say a lot about because I don't have a VR headset. I mean, it looks like a mediocre VR game, you know, and that's all I can really say about that. So moving on to Starlink. I don't know how I feel about this toy to life thing. Okay, so you're gonna be able to buy these parts that you can put on top of your controller, and then you can add on attachments, and then they show up in your game. I don't know. Especially if the cost isn't right. I really don't know what to say about Starlink. I think the game can have potential, but having the extra stuff to add on to it just winds up being a hassle. But they did add Star Fox to it for the Nintendo Switch. So kids that have the Switch are probably gonna wanna buy it, but I'm intrigued to see how long it's actually going to last. Because I think you can only do the toy to life thing for so long before it starts to like, you know, like whittle off, and that's what I think is going to happen with Starlink. If they could do it without the toy to life thing, I think it might work out better for Ubisoft. Next up was For Honor Marching Fire, the DLC for For Honor. I have yet to play For Honor. I know a lot of people rave about it, but I know there were a lot of people that also did not like For Honor. So it's good that they're still continuing to support the game with additional DLC. This looks like a lot of fun. The 4 versus 4 co-op play looks like a lot of fun, and what is it, the bridge, you know, mode looks really cool too. The video that they played for it like makes me hype. It looks like a lot of fun. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna spend the money on it. I know it's on sale right now for 20 bucks, which is a nice deal, but I'm kind of upset that PC players get to download the starter game for free. What about the console people? Are we not important? Next game was The Crew 2, another game that I'm really looking forward to. Xbox had Forza Horizon, and the game looks amazing, and that is a day one buy for me. But I'm also gonna pick up The Crew 2 because it just looks so much fun. Being able to swap from a car to a plane to a boat seamlessly has so much potential, and I'm just thinking of different ways that I can just like make that happen. So I'm super excited about The Crew 2. They didn't spend a whole lot of time on it, but I know it's gonna be at least a decent game, at least. And then last, they looked at Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I don't know how I feel about Assassin's Creed this year around. To me, it reminded me of Origins, because you can't do 2 games back to back and have them be completely different. There's always going to be some type of comparison. They should take a few years off for Assassin's Creed, and they should have introduced Splinter Cell. That's the game that everybody was looking forward to, was a new Splinter Cell. And I feel like that's the game that they should have ended with, and they could have waited for Assassin's Creed Odyssey for maybe next year. Because the constant Assassin's Creed games, like, I'm already burned out from Origins. I'm not gonna buy Assassin's Creed Odyssey unless it goes on a really, really nice discount. So for them to end it on Assassin's Creed, especially when everybody already knew that that game was alive and that game was coming, and they used that as their last game, I don't know, kind of says a lot for what they have coming up, you know, in the future. Like, we knew about The Division already. That's going to be a good game. And we knew about Assassin's Creed, and those were the two big games. When we already know, you know, what games are coming, it kind of kills the whole surprise. And they really didn't have any surprises this time around, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, you can't always go for the shock and awe factor, but I mean, Bethesda had Elder Scrolls 6, you know, and they shocked everybody, because I don't think anybody knew that that was coming out. Like, Ubisoft knows every year that Assassin's Creed is leaked online, and it's a shame, because had we not known about Assassin's Creed Odyssey, then maybe we would have been excited. I wouldn't have been excited, because I already know that they're gonna make a new one every year. That's why Origins was looked at as like a really great game, is because they took time off to develop it, and it felt different, it felt new. But this game has a lot of visuals that look just like Origins, and I just don't think that I'm here for it, you know, this year around. So as much as I love Ubisoft and their games, a lot of people complain that all Ubisoft games play the same, and they are the same, but I mean, what company doesn't create games that are similar, you know, in 2018? Like, most games are starting to be like all the rest of the games. There's not a lot of difference today anymore, which is why I think consoles are probably on the way out. I mean, I feel like Ubisoft CEO was correct. It's just no reason to have like console loyalty anymore. I mean, unless you have a Nintendo Switch and you love Mario, or you have a PS4 and you love, you know, those exclusives that they have on their game. But I think Xbox is on the forefront of what is going to wind up being crossplay between platforms, and having different, you know, game franchises that just play on any device. So you really don't need to have a specific console. Maybe exclusives will be streamed from a particular company's server. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I think in the next 10 years there's going to be some drastic changes in consoles and games and streaming and all that stuff. So all in all, I think Ubisoft did an okay job. Since we already knew about Assassin's Creed, that kind of like killed a lot of the buzz for me, and no Splinter Cell. So I'm gonna give them like a 6.5 out of 10. As much as I love you guys, there were just some things that were missing from me, but the hype is still at a 10, because Microsoft did a good job, Ubisoft did an okay job, and I know Sony's gonna kill it tonight, and Nintendo's coming tomorrow. So what do you guys think? Did you like the Ubisoft press conference? Are there any games that you're looking forward to from Ubisoft in particular? I am going to hop on Twitch around 9 and check out the Sony press conference live, so I will be online for that. You guys can come and hang out if you want to. If not, just leave a comment down below. As always, this is NT Certified. Thank you for watching. I did ramble on a bit. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. Please like, comment, and as always, subscribe to the channel. Become a part of the certified club, and I'll see you guys again soon. Peace.